What was it like playing a gig to a sort of anarcho crowd back in the 80s? Welcome to the Skyaaz podcast. I'm very excited. Today I'm joined by three members of the band Alternative who have just had a reissue with this, which we're going to talk about. So we've got Rodney, James and Craig. Hi guys.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
So I think let's kick it off. Let's talk about obviously the history of the band. So I knew you from obviously that single on Crass Records, but you were obviously performing before then. Were you on the Bullshit Detector album as well, I believe? So
Yes,
we're on the first volume.
So you sent a cassette to Crass, did you? And they put it on the album.
Yeah.
And then how did you go from being on Bullshit Detector to actually having a single on Crass Records? Did they contact you or did you contact them?
Persistence.
Well, we went went down with a demo tape to Dial House.
Okay.
Took that down to the Crass's house, and we handed them the tape, and we spent a few hours with them talking to them, and I listened to their demo tape, and that very day they said to us, "Would you like to bring a single out?" So we just kind of took it from there, and I think we had to wait a few months before we go down to Southern Studios to record the single. But the thing for Bullshit Detector was probably something that come out of the band when it very first formed, probably 79. But the band originally started various forms of the band prior to that, maybe 78. Myself and Rodney in a band called The Different, which was a start-off punk band at the time. That kind of dispersed, and sort of as time went by, we decided to put another band together, had various members in the band, and then we eventually settled, recorded the track that went on to Bullshit Detector at Palladium Records, Palladium Studios in Edinburgh. We recorded that and sent it off to Crass, and then we then found out that it was actually included on the Volume 1 Bullshit Detector album.
I saw Penny talking at Rough Trade East, and he was talking about the Bullshit Detector series. And when they came out, they were derided by the press. They just said this is the worst thing possible. And then now, when they talk about it, it's like this is the voice of disenfranchised youth, and they totally switched it round. But back in the day, people rubbish.
Yeah. And I think that actually took everything back to what originally sort of punk was all about. You know, it was do-it-yourself, minimalist, you know, and it was all about the message that you were trying to put across, and it was open to everybody, you know. And I think certainly with the Alternative, when we started, for us it was a journey that we went on, and it was meant to kind of create an environment where you could have creativity and people could, you know, bring in their own ideas and own views, and that's how they ended up with the pad, which was like an open door place where bands could come, use the equipment. And from that, I think everybody kind of joined, everybody added their own creativity to it. So for instance, there's things like the artwork, which James was involved a lot with other people. And then obviously the musical side of it. And we just developed, and for me, you know, it was almost like a journey on a transport system that took us through, and everybody jumped onto the transport system at various times. Myself, obviously, at the beginning when the band started, and then I left the band sort of late 83, beginning 84. Other people joined, and they had their bit of creativity that they added to the Alternative. So I don't think anybody owned any particular part of it. I think it was just a journey everybody went on, and everybody added their own bit, you know, to that. I suppose to that creativity, you know, that was going through at the time. And we had various members of the band that joined, like Sudugi, Linda, joined for the female vocal side of it as well. So, you know, I think everybody had their their bit that they added to it, their bit of creativity, you know, whether it was through the artwork or whether it's through the music or the lyrics. And I think that that whole thing appealed to certainly a lot of the young bands in Dunfermline at the time. And they would come and they'd be able to use our equipment, what have you, to do their practicing and play, and used to support us at gigs and play with us at gigs. So it was a whole concept really that was developed, and it wasn't just about alternative. It was about lots of other bands that had the ability. We could give them a platform to practice and to play, you know. So I think that was the whole journey of the alternative. I think, you know, and today it's still, you know, there's still people playing alternative songs, which Rodney's involved in as well, you know. So it's still going after all these years, you know.
So if we talk
years later,
if we talk about this single, I'm going to get it out now. Okay, so this is the reissue from One Little Independent, and I actually, in my review, I actually said I remember it so well. I remember the back, and one of the things I think about it is it's so original with that organ at the beginning. Who came up with that? Was that Crass's idea? Was that something you said, let's get an organ at the beginning? How did that come about?
that was Paul Ellis.
Oh, was it?
Paul Ellis did the organ for that. But originally, we used to just use, we used to steal stuff off of BBC Sound tapes. There was all these hundreds of albums that were out, kind of BBC Soundscape.
It was all the BBC vinyls.
So we'd steal, you know, organ music or birdsong or tape recordings from the 60s and 70s, various other things. We'd use that at gigs. So, you know, we'd intersperse our music. So, you know, in between when we were sound checking or, you know, we're changing into kind of new songs and that, would play kind of interspersed stuff. And the Antichrist track just came out of, we thought, well, you know, essentially it's an anti-religion song, which is how we wanted it to come across. Although the name is Antichrist, it covers all religions. Yeah. So, you know, before we play the song live, we had this BBC recording of basically a church organ.
Yeah.
So when we took the tape down, the church organ was on the demo that we gave to them, and Penny says, "Well, I know this guy who's really good, a guy called Paul Ellis, who actually did session work for Kid Creole and the Coconuts, believe it or not."
Yeah.
So anyway, Paul came in, got his wee Yamaha, and you know, we talked with him, and he said, "Well, what kind of sound do you want?" And we said, "Well, you know, something big, you know, like a church, you know, like a cathedral sound, you know." So I mean, you know, that's where that came from, really.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description so people can listen to the whole track. But they can get hold of this. Yeah. What they've done is they've actually made the 7-inch, because this was originally a 7-inch. They've made it a 12-inch, and I think Penny was saying the reason why they've done that is the 7 inches were so compressed. So when they make it a 12-inch, you can get the real sound, and they've remastered it as well. But it's if I just show you the inside of it.
Well, you do, because the guitar parts by Dougie McHale.
Right.
His guitar parts are very intricate on each track, and you don't quite hear it on the 7-inch.
No.
But on the 12-inch, which I've listened to, it all comes out.
Yeah.
All his guitar work.
Yeah.
They love it.
They're not going to be around forever.
It's a lot better.
Okay.
No, they won't be, no.
So, what are the plans for the band? I mean, you're still playing. You still, you know, what are the plans? What can people look forward to in the future?
Well, I've been doing some gigs with Alternative Mark III, which is the third version of the band.
Okay.
Done about 20 odd gigs. And I've just been doing all the old tracks, really, from the set. And it's been amazing. We've been to Europe, we've been down to England, it's been amazing.
The benefit for the 1 and 12.
We're doing a 1 and 12 benefit, I think, next month, on the 13th of July. And they're great people, they're great musicians, and they're keeping the band alive. They're keeping that spirit going.
Yeah, and
I would never have done it without them.
And also releasing this thing, it kind of brings it to a new audience, doesn't it? Because obviously, you know, not many people have a Crass 7-inch from 1983. Was it 83, I think?
No,
was
they
it
won't.
came out? 83, I think.
Yeah, the record came out in March '83, I think.
Yeah. What can
But
you
we
remember
recorded it
about?
in October '82.
What can you remember about the recording at Southern
Oh,
Studios?
the recording was amazing. Yeah.
Was it
That
John
was an
Loder?
experience, wasn't it? I can
Yeah,
remember
you
that.
take it away,
Was
Craig,
indeed.
John.
It was John Loder, wasn't it?
The thing I can remember is regarding the vocals. The thing, I can remember is spending a lot of time listening to one thing, getting the drums, getting the dampers on the drums to get the sound right in the drums, everybody tuning up and laying down the music. And then at the very end, I can remember being put in this room they called the womb, and then having to put the vocals on top of it. And everybody was sitting in total silence, and I was having the music played back to me in the headphones and going through all the vocals, and all they could hear was me screaming down his microphone. And they couldn't hear any of the music, so all the music was getting played into my ears. They're
Yeah.
looking at me as if I'm a mad screaming into this microphone.
Well, you were.
Well, I played the drums, and I did most of the design work for the album. It was me and
George.
George McHugh, and he did
George
all the
McHugh.
illustrations. So I did the front cover, I designed the logo, and I did the inside cover as well. In fact, there's a funny story
your
attached to that.
your original logo was like a sunset, wasn't it? And then it changed to
It
the
was the
eight.
Rising
It
Sun.
was a rising sun, yeah.
One of the songs in our set was called Rising Sun.
Right.
Yeah.
And after we done various gigs, we did some kind of hand-painted backdrops and that. We did a couple of early gigs and stuff like that. And then we decided we needed some kind of, identity. So we all went down to my auntie's house with a big sheet and some blackboard paint and painted a massive Rising Sun backdrop.
That was it.
So that's kind of where that came from.
That was in a place called Inverkeithing, a wee town in Fife, Scotland.
Okay. So
And Murphy's auntie used to bring us down there. While Murphy was painting the backdrops, we'd all get cups of tea and tea.
very nice.
Great.
So how can fans get in touch with you? I mean, you've got Facebook pages, or what's the best way of getting in
Well,
touch?
there's a Facebook page for the current band,
Okay.
Alternative Mark III. So
Okay.
they can get in touch there. They can get in touch with Ian Influx on Facebook.
Okay.
He's in Armoured Flue Unit, the punk group. He keeps everything on his Facebook page about Alternative.
Yeah.
It's all there. You can get on there and get information, no problem.
So basically, I mean, if you log on and just put Alternative,
That'll come up.
it will come up,
Yeah.
and it gives a bit of the history of the band, lots of photographs, a lot of
Yeah,
their design work. In the past, Ian's been, steadfast with the band.
He's kept the name alive.
So he's released a lot of live demos, a lot of studio recordings, and
They're all
he's got
there.
them out in CD, and just
Yeah.
just doing a mail order to people, So
And he's not making a profit.
big hats off to
It's all
Ian
for free.
Influx, I have to say.
He's got 10 demos of Alternative on Bandcamp, and they're all available for free. You don't have to pay a thing. So he's not making any profit out of that at all,
Okay.
which is a nice thing.
Yeah. So I was sent some photos. What can you tell me about some of these photos that I've been sent? Were these from the pad, or were they from other gigs?
They were from all the gigs we did in Scotland,
Okay.
mainly, and gigs with Flux Pink Indian, and in Newcastle, in Sunderland,
What was it like playing a gig to a sort of anarcho crowd back in the 80s?
Oh,
It could be very lively.
well,
Very lively.
It was strange in Scotland because you've got to remember the context. We
yeah,
were in Scotland, we weren't in London, we weren't in the north of England.
no,
There was very little happening up here. No, we weren't playing big venues, we were playing community centres and
church halls.
town halls, church halls, anywhere anywhere really where we could get in, you know what I mean?
But that was the ethos of Crass as well.
It was just
They were playing
DIY.
venues in south of England, in London and Birmingham, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Village
they were
halls.
playing church halls and that as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they played the Conway Hall in London.
Yeah.
And these gigs were very violent with skinheads, fascist skinheads.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was at these gigs, and they were terrifying.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we thought, wait a minute here, something's happening. We couldn't, you have to keep going, and we'll do it. and they gave us the inspiration to keep going. So, you know, they were very interesting times back then, but now, you do a gig now, there's no trouble. Everybody seems to be happy and enjoying themselves now.
Well,
No more aggro.
we're all a bit older now. We're a bit to be old to be fighting. And to be honest,
Well, exactly. Yeah,
Indeed,
totally agree.
indeed.
also, I
Yeah.
mean, I know punk isn't really meant to be nostalgic, but I think as you get older, I mean, when I hadn't played, I'm not being rude, I haven't played this track for many, many years. And when I played it, it took me back to sitting in my bedroom, listening to it. Honestly, it was, and like when I opened it up and I saw it came back, the whole thing. And that's what the whole reissuing thing is about. I think it's great. I think it's great. And you know, if it can remind anyone else of that period in their life when, because to me, you know, I was 15 or whatever, I had my whole future ahead. I was very optimistic. And that music, the sound, that's the sound of my youth. So to hear it again now, it's just amazing. It's just amazing.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I guess you're coming back out again. So I think it's one of the best Crass.
Very happy about the reissue.
I think I'm gonna put my thing. There's two Crass singles that I think are the best. Forget the Crass bands, the Crass other bands on the label.
Yeah.
One is your one, okay? Hit Parade, and Hit Parade even did a 12-inch single, like a dance single, and it's fantastic.
Yes.
And I said to Penny,
I know.
"Is that coming out?" He said, "Yeah, that's going to be coming out."
Didn't we play with Hit Parade in Belfast?
Oh, yeah.
You played.
I played in Belfast with Hit Parade.
Did you? It's amazing.
Back
It's just
in
one guy, wasn't
1985.
it?
It's been 85.
85, yeah, I know, yeah.
So on
We played with Reality Control, Alternative and Hit Parade in 1985 in Belfast.
really. So I
Yeah.
used to run a radio show. Obviously, Skyaaz was my DJ name, and I contacted Hit Parade and I said, "Can I use your track as my opening music?" And he wrote back and said, "Fine." So that track was I sampled it, was the opening music. And if you listen to any of my old shows on Mixcloud, it's all the Hit Parade dance track, which I thought was amazing.
Was the lyric not? Yeah, was the lyric not more faces than the hour clock or something?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good days. Good days.
Well, I would just like to say thanks to all the members in the band that have ever been in the band. There's been 3 versions of Alternative.
Yeah.
You know, some of them are not with us anymore. Linda's gone, Chipsy's gone, who was on the album, and all the other guys I've never seen for years. And all the people that helped us get there. There was a whole scene with the Pad, and we done Fairman and Newcastle in the Northeast. There was all this groundswell of support. It was amazing. It'll never come again.
Yeah.
No.
I think as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think that if you think of some of the bands that were in Dunfermline at the time, that were all involved, you know, whether it was the Actives, the Dissidents,
the Actives, yeah.
Mutual Fear, Why.
I like Mutual Fear.
They all kind of sprung up, and we all kind of, you know, as well as socialising together, we played together, we used the same facility in the Pad together and what have you, you know, everything from the fly post, you know, with the old printer thing, that
stenciling,
sending the right fly post and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, it takes you back all them years, and it was almost like a community within a community, you know.
Absolutely.
And I think it's, and you still see people going about, and as you say, some people aren't here anymore, but you still see people and you've not seen for years, and I think it's something that's in that ethos that you have with it, the sort of punk is indelibly printed on your mind, I think, and it doesn't go away, you know. No matter how many years pass, you know, your attitude to things remains the same, you know.
Yeah.
It made us the people who we are today. We're all in our 60s now, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, and we're, you know, it was like, well, we're
You've just turned 60, Craig.
18, 19-year-old, like, you know what I mean? But
I was the old one. I was 21.
Well, I'm 62.
I know. I'm 65 next month.
I'm just a puppet 61.
You know, Paul.
Yeah.
Are you there, Paul?
I'm here.
Hi, mate. The first time I ever met Craig, he had multicoloured camouflaged bondage trousers on. In a train station, outside a train station. And I went, who is that guy? You know, and he gave me a shot of the trousers. And after that, a few weeks later,
Not there.
Alternative, we formed the band. The Different. Yeah. And then it was Alternative after that.
So was it the different because of the
Unbelievable.
different trousers?
Yeah, they were brilliant. They were great bondage trousers, man. They were brilliant. And we were into the Clash then, and the Damned, and the Sex Pistols, and the Spangers.
You know, and Dunfermline was quite good now, you know, because there was a lot
Yeah.
of gigs. We had this place called the Kinema Ballroom that we used to go
A
to.
lot of
and stuff
gigs
like
there, you know,
Had
Susan
pub
the
nights,
Banshees and all that, you
where
know.
the Ruts played, where
The
the
Ruts.
Dam played.
Brilliant.
I met John Lydon a couple of weeks ago.
Aye.
He's doing a speaking tour.
I watched that
And,
with you and John Lydon.
and I was really nervous because, you know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's a hero, but when you meet someone who's sort of a big part of your life,
Oh,
and
Yeah.
I met him, what a nice guy. We
yeah.
sat down, I gave him a bottle of brandy, and I did an episode about 3 weeks ago. It had like 20,000 views. And I told him, I said, have you seen the video? And he's like, what video? And I said, it's got 20,000 views. But what I'd like to interview him one day. But I think, yeah, he's still obviously around. It's a shame what's happened to the Pistols. You know, hearing
Yeah.
that the other guys are doing the gig without John. I think the Sex Pistols without John is kind of not really the
Are
Pistols.
they playing without John Lydon?
Yeah, they're playing at Bush Hall. They're doing a
Oh, I didn't
charity
know
event.
that.
So
They're going to do Sex Pistols without him.
they're doing Sex Pistols without John. Yeah,
Oh, no.
it's not right, is it?
Oh, well.
No, it's for charity. They're doing it. It's charity for the Bush
Oh,
Hall.
are they?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
but you know,
Well, maybe it's just personal between them and John. Who knows?
yeah. Well, anyway, listen.
But, you know, Craig, he comes back. Craig comes back and sings with the band from time to time, don't you, Craig? And
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
up.
yeah. Usually banner on.
Yeah, you come
Yeah.
up and do a couple of numbers. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It takes me back to when you were only 18 and I was 21.
Ah, yeah, yeah. And that wasn't yesterday. Yeah, it's.
No, it wasn't yesterday, but it feels like that sometimes, though.
But the great thing is, we're all still
Yeah.
mates. I mean, 40 years later, we're all still mates. You know, what I
No,
mean?
we're still
So,
friends.
You know,
Because-
we're still keeping contact.
Yeah.
You know,
It's in the blood.
we still
It's in
meet
the
up,
bones.
like, you know what I mean? Because,
Forever.
you know, we share the history, so,
Aye.
you know, that's really important.
What I think is really important is the fact that the alternative, before the alternative came along, you had the bands we've just mentioned, of course, and we had the Skids, right? And the Fremen. And they brought a lot of people together. They brought a wee community together.
Yeah.
But they were still a wee bit remote. Whereas when we came along, we brought everybody in. With the pad.
Yeah.
We brought the bands in. We had publishing presses. We had all sorts of stuff going on. CND, the peace movement, everything.
Yeah.
You know, and that was never to be seen again in Dunfermline, ever. Never been a scene like it.
Mhm.
You mentioned bands like Mutual Fear, The Dissidents. You know, it was incredible, you know, what we done. And then it was gone. You know,
Yeah.
within 4 years.
Well, look.
But very important.
At least it's been reissued and people can listen
Yeah.
to it again. As I said before, there's a link in the description so people can listen to the track. Get yourself a copy of it if you want a physical one, which I think you should have because it sounds best on vinyl.
Yeah, of course.
But listen, it's been fantastic. Craig, Rodney, James, thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
That's okay, Paul.
No, it's a
and-
pleasure, Paul.
And yeah, I look forward to get in touch if you're doing anything else you want me to feature. Be more than happy to do that.
Well, if you could maybe say
Oh, yeah,
something
thank you.
about the gig on the 1 and 12 Club.
Say that again.
Mention the 1 and 12 Club on the 13th of July.
Send me a link.
Alternative will be playing with Civilized Society, I think.
Okay, send me a link and I'll put that link in the description when the episode goes live.
It's going to be the 1 and 12 Club is a very
That's in
special
Crass.
venue.
I mean, it's an iconic venue.
It's a great venue.
Gone for nearly 40 years.
Oh,
now.
at least 40 years, yeah.
Craig, are you going to be singing at that one or
The 1
not?
and 12 Club. Maybe we can get you down, Craig,
Yes.
to do some vocals.
Don't know about that.
Didn't worry,
Depends when
you
it
get
is.
in the
And
back of the car, there's room. Like pause and zoom in, a wee pause. Anyway, Craig's always welcome on stage with the band, anytime. As you know.
Yeah.
So
no,
all
appreciate
that stuff we did when we were very, very young, it continues now. And we're gone into our old age now, but it doesn't matter. It's still just as strong.
It was very important for all of us.
Cheers, Craig, man.
Yeah, and for you, yeah.
So if you look at my channel, all my massive runs. So I did a mod episode. It's had 42,000 views. I've done a Paul Weller episode. I've done a
I saw that as well. The Paul Weller
I did a
one,
Vince Clarke. Okay, they've had tens of thousands of views. I get paid nothing. Okay, because as soon as I put that copyright material, I forfeit any rights. Okay.
Yeah, you will do.
So on my channel now, I don't put copyright material on there, and I put links so people can listen to it. But at the end of the day, I think people don't need to hear it because there's going to be a link. I mean, probably people know it anyway. What I do is I share the episode with loads of punk groups on Twitter, and and I think that's why the John Lydon one did so well. But yes, there's a link.
I enjoyed the one with Dunstan from Chumbawamba.
Oh yeah, I did an episode with him on my channel.
I enjoyed that. I listened to that today.
Did you? Yeah, that was quite fun to do.
He's still touring with Interrobang, I think.
He's in another band now, is he not?
Interrobang, yeah.
Interrobang.
They're good.
That's a good guy, like.
Great.
Well, I actually
we played with Chumbas quite a few times.
Yeah.
I met Dunstan when I was down interviewing Steve Ignorant from Crass in Brighton, and he was there. And if you watch the episode, it actually shows him tapping on the window. And I met him and just said, talking. I said, "But who you?" Said, "I used to be in a band." I said, "No, go on. What band?" He goes, "We were called Chumbawamba." And I was like, "Yeah, I think I remember you." I said, "Look, I'd love to do."
He's a great character.
I said, "I'd love to do an episode," and he said, "Give me a card." So I gave him a card, and about a week later, he rang me up. He said, "It could be fun. Let's do it." And we did, and it's a great episode. I love it.
He's great.
Me too.
He's so funny.
I was watching it earlier on this morning.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
with me.
Just to get an idea of your style of interview.
With me stalking him.
Really? You?
Yeah, we planned that.
Anarchist stalker.
We did the episode, and basically.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed that actually. It's good. But you've got to go now, so can you off?
And it just works. It kind of bookends the episode.
All right, off you go. See ya.
Fantastic.
And I've used it. If you look at some of my other interviews, we all do it. So I'll go and knock on the door.
Oh, it's that geezer again. No, only him.
No, but it's great. But I mean, the Chumbas and the Interrobang, I mean, it's pure theatre.
Yeah.
It is real theatre.
Always has been.
And Dunstan has always been, a theatrical character. Even when he was doing stuff with Chumbas, like, I mean.
Well, he did his one-man show, didn't he, as well, which I saw in Brighton, which was really good.
Yeah.
And he did the film I Get Knocked Down as well. So he's busy. He's a busy boy.
I know.
Good.
I know.
That's good to hear.
But they're a lot of people go, "Oh no, it's a top thumping, blah blah blah."
No.
They were great people. They were great people we worked with.
The single by Chumbawamba, Revolution.
Fantastic.
The first single they did, Revolution.
Yeah.
To me, that's the best record. That's a very important record. Oh yeah. They were taking things to the next level at the time.
Yeah.
So very inspirational, Paul. Yeah. But I hope we inspired them too.
Well, you probably
We've
did.
done some good shows together.
You probably
and then
did.
Murphy was in Reality Control, and they did a big tour with Flux and Chumbawamba.
Really?
Yeah. 1986.
Yeah, I drummed for RC and that because their drummer had disappeared. So we did a kind of mini tour with Chumbas and No Defences. It was No Defences.
No Defences as well from London.
And that was great. I mean, we toured North England, South England, got as far down as Slough, and it was just great fun. Great fun. Loved it.
And it was beautiful. I mean, Chumbawamba had all the visuals organised. They had the theatrical stuff going on, the props. Flux were doing on card block at the time. Yeah, it was great times. So thank you, Paul.
Okay, well, look, if you're enjoying this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share the show with your friends. Right, listen, it's been great seeing you guys. Thank you so much for agreeing to do it, and I wish you all the best for the future.
You too, Paul.
Okay, thank you, Paul.